So why is it important to calibrate to whoever you're interacting with in social skills? Well, let's say you are speaking with a friend or speaking with someone new, and let's say you really have something that you want to say. You want to tell a story. So you're just telling the story, the things that are coming to your mind, but you might get like so lost in the details of the story that you forget how is this transferred to the person or the people that you are interacting with, right? So maybe you will be very engaged by telling your own story, but if the person you're interacting with is getting like, not following or not understanding or not going along with the story, then it's like, yeah, you're just kind of speaking with yourself at the end of the day. So really, you want anything that you want to transfer to someone else, you need to calibrate it, because if you don't, then the effect will be random. You might completely miss what you meant to do, or you might make them upset, angry, or bored, or whatever. And at the end of the day, you want to make like a good connection, right? So that's important. And that's why you do this. Now, also, if you are, let's say you are walking with a camera somewhere, and there are many people on YouTube nowadays that walk in public to improve their confidence, for example. Then also you want to calibrate your environment, because it's not just about letting go of what people think about you. That's part of it. But if you don't calibrate well, then you might upset people around you. So you want to make sure, at least for me, I want to make sure when I'm creating something in the world, and for example these videos, I want to do something meaningful with it. So that means also it's got to have like a positive effect, right? So that's why calibration is important as well. Now again, let's take an example in sales. Let's say you're speaking to a prospect in sales, and anything you say, right? Like say you're selling a product, or you're selling like a sales course or whatever. You might be able to know all the details of the program. We're going to cover this, objection handling, like that. And these are also like important things that you need to cover at the end of the day. But even more important than that is that you again calibrate to the person you're interacting with, which means you see what is their experience with other sales courses, what are their sticking points, how do they think about sales, why are they even interested in that. And so calibration is really personalizing it to the person or the people you're interacting with, which means you're no longer just covering like the raw details, but now you're actually considering the experience of your prospect, for example. So this means you're going to be able to influence them much better, because you care about what they think or what they feel, what they believe, right? If you are actually dealing with that, then it makes sense, that you'll be able to influence them much more. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that needs to be influenced is their beliefs. And if you can do that, if you can work with what they actually believe, instead of just the objective things, then you can actually change their beliefs, right? Which is what most of the time you want when you're selling something. So at the end of the day, there's like multiple things you can do for that, but it all comes down to calibrating to other people, right? Caring what other people feel, think, believe, to a certain extent, because you also need to be able to detach from that to some extent. For example, maybe your prospect thinks that sales is like something stupid or shady, and now whenever you try to influence this person, he's going to be like, well, this feels really unethical to me, or this feels like you're doing something stupid. Well, when you calibrate to something like this, you want to make sure that you need to consider their experience, but you don't necessarily need to go along with it, right? Because just because they have this belief, it might not be the right belief to have, or it might be a damaging belief. So that's why you don't want to go along always. You just want to like consider their experience and like influence from there. That's the tricky part about calibration, because that's why you need to both care about what someone thinks and feels, while at the same time also be able to let go of that, right? That's also, by the way, something you do a lot when you meditate. Meditation is often detachment from things that are going on, so that you are able to remove that and focus more on your own experience, right? This means that you're letting go of things that are not yours. You're giving back responsibilities to other people or other things. So, but yeah, and at the same time, like I said, you still need to also care about what people think and what people believe and how people feel. So that's the tricky part. But yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea why that's important. And really you can apply this in different situations. Whether you're meeting someone new, whether you're cold approaching someone, whether you are, meeting with friends, just being with friends, whether you're in a sales meeting or whether you're working in public, making YouTube content or whatever, like it's always important in social skills and in dealing with people. So I hope this was interesting or educational, and check out my next video if you want. See you guys soon. Cheers.